Homelessness Prevention Committee to order. We have 3 items before us today, and Senator Hauschild, I see you there. So if you want to come up to the table, we'll start with Senate File 2337. I will note we do have a quorum present.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. In the Northland, we have a lot of small communities that don't necessarily have all the resources or all the experts to figure out the challenges that we face. And I would say one of, although there are many, one of the most challenging things we face in our region is housing. And so I really appreciate the work all of you do on this committee. But in order to address housing, especially for some of our rural communities where we're spread out, where there's a lot of different needs, we need to figure out a way that we can bring all the stakeholders together, where we can have someone that has that toolbox, maybe not all the tools, but the toolbox to understand the challenges we all face up north for addressing our housing shortage, our workforce housing shortage. We have employers that are looking to settle in the Northland, to hire workers, but a lot of them don't come because we don't have the housing for people to live. I represent one of the most beautiful districts in the state. You always hear me say that. People want to live in the Northland. They want to live up the North Shore. They want to live on the Iron Range, but they simply can't find the housing to do it. And so what Senate File 2337 does is it appropriates money to the Northland Foundation, which is a regional community foundation that serves the 7 counties and 5 tribal nations in Northeast Minnesota. They provide grant funding opportunities, economic development tools and programs serving our children, and intergenerational work. This appropriation would seek to support their work on this housing front that I just described. With me today to testify is the President and CEO of the Northland Foundation, Tony Surdich.
Good afternoon, Mr. Surdich. Please introduce yourself for the record and present your testimony.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the committee. My name is Tony Surdich, and I am the President and CEO of the Northland Foundation. Madam Chair and members, I want to thank Senator Hauschild for bringing this bill forward. And as he said, we serve the 7 counties and 5 tribal nations in northeastern Minnesota. And if you allow me to expand on that for just a second, these 7 counties are only 7 of the 87 counties in Minnesota. However, it is 18,000 square miles of the state, which is roughly 20% of the state. That's just a big number and it's arbitrary. Let me put a little detail to that. It is larger than 9 states. The population of this region is 320,000 people, so 5% of the state's population. If our entire region was a city, it would be the 2nd largest city in the state, and it's roughly the same size as our capital city of St. Paul. So it is a very rural region with less population density. And so we also have the 5th largest community in the state, the city of Duluth, at 86,000, but the 2nd largest city is 16,000, the city of Hibbing, and most of our cities are under 5,000. And as a matter of fact, Cook County, one of our 7 counties, only has 5,000 people in the entire county. So I just want to paint a picture of how rural and less populated we are. And so it's not uncommon across the state, as Senator Hauschild said, that we're hearing and seeing the challenges and barriers that the lack of housing and the lack of childcare are having on our people, our communities, and our economy. We at the Northland Foundation have for years now served as a regional hub to support and connect communities, families, and businesses to help solve childcare challenges and take advantage of opportunities. This bill would allow us to play that similar role of a hub to support and connect our region on the issue of housing. For most of our communities, tackling these housing challenges and taking advantage of opportunities can be very daunting. The responsibility tends to fall on a city administrator who in their spare time when they're not trying to figure out how to plow our streets and keep our communities safe and all the other infrastructure issues, they have to work with potential developers and figure out where the funds are and put these packages together. And it would be, I think, inefficient for 130 small communities, many under 5,000, to each have a housing expert. And so we're looking at this as a regional approach. And as Senator Hauschild said, we see ourselves as potentially being a toolbox. This is what we do. We convene people and entities. And I think we are appropriately located, being a foundation that can work with the public sector, the private sector, and the nonprofit sector, we can bring this together. There are many businesses in our region who are looking to actually invest in housing. Now, they can't make those investments to a city, but they can work through foundations and others, and so can cities. And so I think we are a natural hub and place that can do this. So this would seed dollars, which would leverage many more dollars to provide funding opportunities, but also the technical support, the horsepower. We're going to hire people to help these communities figure out these solutions. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Surdich. Members, Senator Draheim, questions?
Thank you. I'll try to keep it brief. I know we're tight on time. Just a couple. Thank you for bringing it forward. All of us on this committee are very passionate about housing, so thank you for your ideas on that. I guess my first question would be, is any of this area use service part of the IRRB?
Mr. Surdich?
Thank you, Madam Chair and Senator. Yes, it is.
Senator Draheim?
So for the members that aren't familiar with the IRRB, it's a region up north that does get some proceeds from the mining community to help reinvest in the communities. And I'm very fortunate to have it for that region, but just to see other types of funding that might be available for this group. The money that you are proposed here in the bill, you want to construct housing. Is that new units, rentals, or do you have a mix? So if we get a feel for that.
Senator Hauschild? Mr. Surdich?
Yeah, thank you, Chair Port. I'm going to defer to Mr. Surdich.
Madam Chair and Senator, thanks for the question. So as I said, we would be this regional hub, and there are 130 communities, and they each have their strengths. And so what we'd be looking at doing is figuring out what the needs are for those individual communities and how to connect them to the right resources. And so in some communities, it may be rehabilitation. In some, it may be new housing. We would take it on a case-by-case basis. But what I can tell you is over a quarter of the housing stock in northeastern Minnesota were built pre-1969. And so we would envision some rehab work, I'm sure, in many of these communities, but also new projects as well. I know that many of the counties, St. Louis County in particular, are looking at a lot of their tax-forfeited land and making that available for new housing opportunities too. So it would run the gamut from soup to nuts because we lack housing at all levels.
Follow-up, Senator Draheim?
Thank you. So Chair, I guess this is more directed towards you. If we're going to move forward with this proposal, and I'm sure there's a need, like there's a need in my district, in your district, and all over the state, I think we need to tighten up the language and add some reporting and some strings attached. Is there going to be a match, no match, et cetera? So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Senator Draheim. Members, any other questions? Senator Hauschild, thank you for bringing this bill. I think it's really critical for this committee to see the need across the state, so that is helpful, and we will be laying this over for possible inclusion. And Senator Draheim, to your point, I'd be happy to work with Senator Hauschild and Mr. Surdich to make sure that those pieces are tightened up.
Thank you,
Thank you very
Chair,
much for presenting to our committee. The bill is laid over.
Thank you.
We will move right to our next bill. Senator Mohamed. Senate File 11. As Senator Mohamed is making her way to the desk, we do have quite a few community members signed up to testify, which we are excited about, but because we are 45 minutes late from the floor, we are going to ask people to keep testimony to 2 minutes each. Davin will have a timer available as well, and we'll gently remind you to wrap it up at that point. Senator Mohamed, whenever you're ready.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Chair Port and members of the committee. Before you is Senate File 11, Bring It Home Rental Assistance. Before I go through the provisions of the bill, I want us to consider this question. What does it mean to have a place to call home? In the early years of my life, I wasn't sure how to answer that question. When I was 9 years old, I often talk about this. My family and I came to America, fleeing war in Somalia. Our housing situation wasn't stable, and we were living day to day. My parents spoke no English, and I had to navigate the system for them. I had to help them apply for Section 8 vouchers, which was difficult. We all carry our perspectives with us, and that is a perspective I will always carry with me. I know firsthand how difficult it is to apply for public housing. I also know how transformative receiving Section 8 vouchers can be. My parents would never have been able to afford housing, even though they each worked 50+ hours a week, earning minimum wage to provide for us. Those Section 8 vouchers gave us so much. They allowed us to live, to learn, to grow, and most importantly, allowed us to give back. Without those Section 8 vouchers, I wouldn't be here now, advocating for my community and for all Minnesotans struggling to pay rent. I advocate because over 172,600 Minnesota households are eligible for federal rent vouchers, but will never receive one. These families consistently sacrifice necessities like food and healthcare every day to pay their rent. They're one car repair or unexpected expense away from facing eviction. 22,000 evictions were filed in Minnesota in 2022. That's double the number filed in 2019. Evictions exacerbate housing inequity and disproportionately affect Black, Brown, and Indigenous families. We need a solution as big as the problem. We need bring-it-home rental assistance, and here's why. Rent vouchers are effective. Decades of research shows that they improve mental and physical health for every household member, improve employment retention for adults, and improve school performance for children. Rental assistance also expedites the construction of deeply affordable housing across the state. Financing for new development can only be secured if rent vouchers are available for future tenants. Right now, most people who need rent vouchers are unable to get them. Bring It Home enables over 30,000 seniors who are at risk of homelessness to remain in their homes. Bring It Home benefits landlords by ensuring regular rent payments and saving them the expense of legal action. Bring It Home will benefit our workforce and our economy, but more importantly, it honors the human dignity of every Minnesotan. Why should children, why should families, why should individuals, why should anyone in our state have to go and become homeless? Why should the concerns of landlords who operate rental units as business for the sake of profit be prioritized over that basic human right to be housed? Members, I urge you to take this crucial step in giving Minnesotans the safe haven of home, and I urge you to consider this bill today. I have members of the community who will testify, and I will take questions, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Senator Mohamed. Do you have an author's amendment you'd like to move?
I have an author's amendment, and I believe it's A2.
Looks right. Members, you should have the A2 in your packets. This is an author's amendment at its first committee step. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The amendment is adopted. First on my list, I have Lee Blondes. After that, I have Heather Alden. You can also make your way up to the table if you'd like.
Thank you, Senator Port. And
please introduce yourself for the committee and then begin with your testimony.
all right, thank you. My name is Lee Blondes, and I'm the CEO of Beacon Interfaith Housing Collaborative and one of the organizations leading the Bring It Home Minnesota campaign. Senator Port and committee members, I'm really excited to be here. Bring It Home Minnesota is supported by all of the major housing organizations in the state. It's a simple but profound investment in the stability of home for all Minnesotans. As Senator Mohamed said, this rent support makes up the difference between what it costs a landlord to provide a decent apartment and what a family can afford to pay in rent. It's a win-win for landlords and tenants. Very simple. What makes it transformational is bringing this home for all Minnesotans. We need a solution as big as the problem. We're asking you to truly grapple with the scale of the affordable housing problem. Close to 200,000 households, and counting children, that's over 500,000 Minnesotans, live with housing insecurity every month. This is a statewide problem. As our handout illustrates, over 1/3 of renters in almost every county in Minnesota cannot afford their rent. This housing policy is the only investment that is guaranteed to deliver affordable housing to every corner of the state. This will be transformational for your communities, for your constituents. It will deliver affordable housing to every House and Senate district in the state. Imagine what it means to have a home that's constantly at risk because you're paying 40, 50, 60% of your income toward rent every month. Any one problem, a few less hours on the work schedule, a car repair and illness can plunge a family into housing instability. I've worked in affordable housing my whole life, and it's painful to see hardworking single mothers struggle to provide for their children, needing to work 2 jobs. Or seniors like my brother-in-law, who is working at 78 years old to afford the rent. He's left wondering what happens when his health deteriorates. When my son was young, around 6 years old, he told my husband that my job is more important than his because I help people. My husband, who's a psychologist, explained to him, Mom helps people on the outside, and I help people on the inside. And Tyrone said back to him, Dad, don't you know that when you help people on the outside, you also help them on the inside? I believe in my heart and soul that a stable home is the most important thing that we can provide to relieve the stress and fear gripping our communities. Some people will say we can't afford Bring It Home Minnesota. I say we can't afford to not make this investment in the health and stability of our communities.
Ms. Blons, please wrap up your testimony.
Thank you. Right now, we have a small program, Homework Starts with Home, which is a wonderful program, but it helps 191 families. If we truly believe that homework starts with home, how do we leave all those other students behind? If I can have just one more thought here. When Beacon opened one of our supportive housing communities for young people experiencing homelessness, a young woman who had gotten a key to her new apartment but she didn't spend that night in her new home. When staff asked her why not, she said, my friend Tamika doesn't get her key until today. We've survived on the streets together for the past 5 months. I couldn't leave her behind. What a message for us adults. Let's not leave anyone behind. Bring it home for all Minnesotans.
Thank you, Ms. Blons. Ms. Alden, please introduce yourself for the record, and you can begin your testimony. And next, I have Amanda Woods.
Hello, Madam Chair. My name is Heather Alden, a social worker in St. Paul Public Schools and supervisor of our Project REACH program, which supports all the students and families in SPPS who are experiencing homelessness, in foster care, and those who are precariously housed. I am here today to speak in favor of Senate File 11. Currently, there are nearly 11,000. Currently, there are 1,100, thank goodness, only 1,100 students identified as homeless in St. Paul Public Schools. Many of these parents are working 1 and 2 jobs and just had life happen. A car breaks down, a house fire, a lost job, underemployment, and ran out of options. Increased stability for families equals increased stability for students. When families can pay their rent and still have money for food, utilities, and medical expenses, families are able to stay in their homes, participate in their community, and provide stability for their children. Over time, children who have stable housing have increased opportunities for academic attainment and educational growth. Safe, stable, and affordable housing during childhood sets the stage for later success in school. Children are profoundly affected by their environment during key developmental stages. Chaos in their neighborhood, frequent moves, unhealthy conditions inside the home all leave a deep and lasting imprint. When housing consumes too much of a household's budget, kids may not have enough nutritious food to eat or are not ready to learn. Rental assistance would help families to have an option to provide housing stability for their children, which increases academic success and decreases incidents where children are falling through the cracks. Rental assistance could ensure that all Minnesota children have a safe, secure place to sleep and give them the stability they need to succeed in school. Rental assistance would help reduce racial inequity and the shameful housing disparities that hold back our Black, Brown, and Indigenous communities in our state. Rental assistance could help communities strengthen by making sure their families can participate in their community and their children succeed, which would help Minnesotans thrive for generations to come. For those who have lived in poverty, experienced homelessness in their lifetime, that is a trauma, and that remains in one story always. That is never an experience a parent would want to repeat for their child. For those who have experienced homelessness, they know the stress of not having a place to stay, food to eat, fear of safety, lack of access to medical care, and educational stability. The opportunity for a statewide rental assistance opportunity for low-income residents could create an opportunity to forego that happening to many in Minnesota. This is an opportunity to rewrite the narrative for those who yearn to house themselves and their children safely. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Alden. Ms. Woods, please introduce yourself for the record, begin your testimony, and Councilmember Jalali, you'll be next.
Yes. My name is Amanda Woods. Thank you, Madam Chair, for the opportunities to speak for SF11, the Bring It Home bill. I live at Cranberry Ridge, which is a deeply affordable housing building run by Beacon Interfaith Housing Collaborative and Interfaith Outreach. I support creating a new Minnesota voucher program because I have personally seen the transformational impact vouchers have. I have 3 kids, and when we have experienced housing instability and homelessness over the last 8 years, the lack of housing programs and bad landlords who exploit families like myself leave you with so little resources always set me back and stop me from finding stability. Last year it broke my heart that because of this instability, my kids missed half a year of school, which changed all of a sudden when I received a voucher connected to my unit at Cranberry Ridge in Plymouth. I was able to move into a 3-bedroom, 2-bath unit that provides enough space and stability for my family. My kids now go to Wayzata schools, and it has been an impact on their lives. My youngest daughter, who is in the 1st grade, and after missing a half year of kindergarten, she started out being able not to read or write. Now she is completely caught up. Now my girl can read a whole book and write her name. My middle schooler has special education needs, and having a stable home has improved his emotional and social skills. He now has the confidence to be in the same classroom as his peers. My oldest son now just gets to be a high schooler and hanging out with friends and playing on a football team. All of this is possible for my family because of having a voucher. Only paying 30% of my income allows me to now focus and save and plan out my career. I am able to provide my kids who missed the opportunity with so many birthdays and holidays because all my income before was just paying to get a roof over our head. Now we celebrate birthdays, holidays, wash our clothes when we want to, and keep 2 growing boys fed and clean. I want everyone to have a voucher because they will be able to care for their kids and themselves and really live life. Before we were in surviving mode, and now because of a voucher, we are able to live. Before, it was always constantly stressful going to a job just to make enough to stay another night at a hotel or always being on the verge of losing that place. When families get that voucher, it provides them with a sense of security and peace. You finally have a place to really rest and focus. I have seen this transformation in my family, and I want everyone in Minnesota to have this opportunity. We need to pass this bill for all the families I have encountered in the shelters and hotels who I know are not as lucky as I am. There are not enough vouchers, and too many families are living like I was. Let's bring it home, Minnesota. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Woods. Council member, welcome to the committee. Please introduce yourself for the record and provide your testimony. And after the council member, we'll go to a virtual testifier and then Temi Ogarinde.
Thank you so much. I'm Councilmember Mitra Jalali, representing Ward 4 at the City of St. Paul. Members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to testify in support of renewed rental assistance for Minnesotans. This desperately needed resource has run out, and our constituents are at risk of going homeless as a result. A constituent contacted my office just this last month. She lives in what's considered to be deeply affordable housing, and this is how I learned that even in these types of homes available to our lowest income renters, they're not financially stable options for our neighbors due to the broken nature of the federal government's rent limit classifications. She wrote, "I'm going to be outpriced where I live due to the new HUD exemptions for Section 42 housing. My rent will go up more than 9%, if not more, this fall. My intention was not to live in this building forever, but with rent being so much for less and less space, it has become harder to find a suitable, safe place to live. I work in the cities and I live within my means." Our office worked hard to coordinate resources for her to make it through the month, but with exhausted rental assistance funds, she was not able to remain in her apartment. I want you to think about if within the next 30 days you had to pack up all your belongings and move entirely out of your house with no idea where you're going next. That is the reality too many of our neighbors face under our current shortage. So today I want to thank you for bringing a proposal to keep our community housed, and I'm strongly in support of this legislation. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. We'll now go to a virtual testifier, Dave Dunn. Dave, if you could please turn on your camera and take yourself off mute, introduce yourself to the committee, and please present your testimony.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the committee. My name is Dave Dunn, and I serve as the Housing Director for Olmsted County. And just extremely briefly, before I get into just my prepared remarks, I just want to say how proud I am to get to testify on behalf of such an important bill and such an amazing opportunity in front of me. As I said, I serve as the Olmsted County Housing Director, and today I'm testifying on behalf of the Minnesota chapter of the National Association of Housing and Redevelopment Officials, also known as NARO. Minnesota NARO represents over 140 housing authorities across the state. Our largest program is the Housing Choice Voucher Program, which provides rental assistance for 31,000 Minnesota households in all 87 counties. Rental assistance helps very low-income households afford housing, which results in greater job security and school achievement. On average, families can stabilize with rental assistance where they can afford their own rent in only 3 years. The proposed Bring It Home Minnesota program is modeled after the voucher program. By modeling the program after the existing voucher program, it will utilize existing delivery systems in place with experienced providers. Locally, the Olmsted County Housing Department operates the Housing Choice Voucher Program. To understand how challenging obtaining rental assistance can be, let's walk through the process in Olmsted County. First, you must sign up for the waiting list. This seems simple, except understanding that the waiting list was last opened in July of 2019. During that time, we had the waiting list open for 1 week and received over 1,500 applications. Those 1,500 applications were put in a lottery where only 500 of them were actually placed in the waiting list. Today, almost 4 years later, we still have 200 people on that waiting list from 2019. When you do get your name to come up on the waiting list, which again can be anywhere from months to 4 to 5 years or more later, you need to reapply for the program. And assuming you still qualify, you need to find housing. If you're currently in a lease, you hope your landlord is willing to accept a voucher. If your property manager does not accept a voucher, you must either find a new home, which risks breaking your lease, or you lose your chance for rental assistance. It's a very challenging process and difficult situation.
Mr. Dunn, if you can
Furthermore,
please wrap up your testimony.
I sure can.
Thank you.
Furthermore, in Olmsted County, half of renters are paying more than 30% of their income in rent. 9,600 households would potentially benefit. We only have rental assistance for 15% of those households. So there's over 8,000 households in Olmsted County alone that would benefit from this. I encourage you, as I wrap this up, I recently read Charlie and the Chocolate Factory with my daughter Grace. Obtaining and utilizing a rental voucher shouldn't be like Charlie finding a golden ticket. Bring It Home would allow thousands of Minnesota families to receive their golden ticket to a safe, healthy, and stable place to call home where they can thrive. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Welcome to the committee. Please introduce yourself for the record and present your testimony. And next on the list, I have Ann Chatelaine.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good afternoon. My name is Tami Ogunride, and I'm the Equity and Engagement Director at Urban Homeworks. Chair Port, members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to testify today regarding Senate File 11. Thank you, Senator Mohamed, and to each senator for moving this bill forward and the opportunity to testify on behalf of Urban Homeworks, our residents, and larger community in support of Senate File 11. Urban Homeworks is a nonprofit focused on affordable housing. We work to ensure families in North Minneapolis, South Minneapolis, and St. Paul have safe, dignified housing that they can afford. We know firsthand that the need for affordable housing is great, but we cannot do it alone. Senate File 11 alleviates the burdensome reality of paying more than 50 to 60% of your income on housing, whether they live in affordable housing or not, because we know that even in housing that is considered affordable by HUD standards, families are still house burdened. As one of the few Black people in the room, I must say, time after time, our elected officials speak to the importance of equity in our state, but can often stay complacent to inequitable practices and systemic racism. Allow me to break down the reality of how our systems benefit our white Minnesotans far greater than our BIPOC Minnesotans. Minnesota provides a subsidy to homeowners through the mortgage interest deduction. This subsidy disproportionately benefits white Minnesotans due to the disparities between white homeownership and BIPOC homeownership. However, funding towards rent subsidies are largely underfunded, a subsidy that would benefit BIPOC families greatly. Now is the opportunity for every legislator, regardless of political affiliation, to support true equity in the state of Minnesota, because supporting our BIPOC Minnesotans benefits all Minnesotans. Simply put, supporting Senate File 11 is not only equitable, but also the right thing to do. This bill has impact beyond North Minneapolis, beyond the Twin Cities, and beyond the metro area. A 2021 study done by Minnesota Housing Partnership showed that there is a high percent of Minnesotans who are house burdened in Hennepin and Anoka, but also in Itasca, Beltrami, and Greater Minnesota. Minnesotans in every jurisdiction are facing the issues of unaffordable rent and being house burdened. This is a bipartisan issue that requires bipartisan support, and supporting Senate File 11 is an opportunity to support the thousands of hardworking Minnesotans who are in need of real support. Lastly, when you have stability and you start to dream, you can begin to do things like build an emergency savings fund, save for a down payment on their child's college tuition. The reality is there are too many hardworking Minnesotans who have been unable to see the fruits of their labor because of unaffordable rent, due to unaffordable skyrocketing rent. Imagine with me, what if we created a Minnesota where the majority of the population isn't simply surviving? A Minnesota where the majority of hardworking Minnesotans are stable, and from that stability are able to now dream of what thriving looks like for themselves and their families. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your testimony. Ann Chatelain. We'll go to our final testifier then, Councilmember Payne. No Councilmember Payne either. All right. Discussion and questions then. Members, questions for the author. Senator Draheim.
Thank you, Senator Port and Senator Mohamed for bringing this forward. Thank you, Beacon, for working on an issue I know we're all passionate about. But I just, my 2 cents on this proposal is that it's very expensive, ongoing, and I think this brings light to the underlying problem that we need to fix our existing programs because they're leaving too many people to fall through the cracks. Members, the operating costs of this program as drafted is about 10–11% of the proposed funding amount. And I know the amendment has a blank and you will look at it when you get your targets and move forward. But to give everybody an idea how much money that is, as drafted, it would be about $220 million for administrative costs. And that could build a lot of units. And our underlying problem in the state is we do not have enough places to put people, and that is raising the rents and raising the cost to buy something. So I appreciate the idea. I appreciate the bill. I appreciate the discussion, but just so everybody understands, it's about 11% admin cost that could build a lot of units. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Senator Mohamed.
To report, Senator Draheim, I appreciate everything you had to say. I think those are pretty valid points. I think that, Ben can speak to the administrative cost. I think that we're asking for a lot of money in this bill, but the truth is, it takes a lot of work to house people, and we need, if we're gonna create a system to make sure that every Minnesotan is housed, it's gonna cost us a lot of money, and it's also gonna need people to do this work, and I think that's part of that administrative cost. But happy to talk more detail with you and, how to figure out what that budget could be.
Do you want to introduce yourself for the committee?
Yes, please. Yep. Thank you,
go ahead.
Madam Chair and Senators. My name is Ben Helvig Anderson. I work for Beacon Interfaith Housing Collaborative. And just to mention around the administrative costs, this all follows the model of the Federal Housing Choice Voucher Program and how much it costs for them currently, the housing authorities across the state, to administer it. And that's not all just filing papers and shuffling bills around. A lot of it is direct service with the lowest income folks in our state. And so that it isn't expensive to help people find housing, stable housing, and continue to support them in that endeavor. And so that is the cost that it is, but open to discussion and to follow up on that as well with all of you.
Senator Pye.
Thank you, Chair Port. I speak in support of this bill, and I just want to say that as a person who grew up most of my childhood living in poverty, my family greatly benefited from programs like this. It is the reason why I was able to get a good education. I was able to thrive in life and pursue my dreams. Safe and stable housing is everything. It's where it starts for whether it is health or education or work or anything. And it truly is a struggle just to survive every day. I can't emphasize that enough, that when people don't have safe and stable homes, it is a fight for survival. I remember when my mom, I could tell, even when I was really young, I could tell when my mom was able to get assistance that she wasn't expecting, because her stress level was down. It was dramatic how much she would change the way that she was interacting with us. When she was really stressed out because she couldn't pay the bills and she couldn't provide food on the table, you could tell as a child. And then when she was able to get special assistance, and assistance that she wasn't expecting, she was like a different mom. I think people who have not lived through this believe that it doesn't exist. But as someone who has, and you're a child, I can't say that it does exist. And truly, for families and people, it is a struggle to survive every day. We must do better. And $2 billion each year, it's not enough, but it's a start.
Thank you, Senator Pye. Senator Lucero.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Senator Mohamed, for this bill. I think this is a very important conversation, and housing is deeply important. And as we know, it is connected to every other aspect of our daily lives. And so these conversations are very, very important. One of the things that frustrates me, and I just wish it would have been a little bit different in the opening remarks, it was something to the effect of property owners or landlords put their profits above housing or other people. There was something to that effect. And, these conversations can take place, very valid conversations can take place without the divisiveness, honestly. Because as we had testifiers here in the last several weeks, they themselves were immigrants, having come here, and they gave their testimony that they worked really hard to grow their own business and grow their own property, having started from nothing, so they can pass on and give the American dream to their children. And myself being Hispanic, and there are many in the communities of minority populations that the trades, whether they be roofers or framers or drywallers or electricians or plumbers, that obviously real estate is very much related to their trade, that it's very natural for many in those communities and in those professions to get into real estate investment, because real estate is a phenomenal opportunity that anybody can begin to get into and grow an income, whether it be for themselves or for their children, the next generation. But it requires a profit. Profit needs to be there. So to attack the profit and to somehow disparage those that are invested in real estate, again, it's just not helpful for the conversation. We can have the same conversation. How can we help families? How can we help Minnesotans reduce the cost of renting or home ownership and all the variables without that? And so just an encouragement there. One of the things that I'll just draw members' attention, just because we are short on time, so I won't ask questions, but I'll just point out in the fiscal note, it does say, I think this is page 4. The top of page 4, it does make a note in the fiscal note that there is a potential to put upward pressure on rents. And so one of the things that I'm very concerned about is when government is continuing to put more money at any level in the state or the federal government, when they put more money into circulation, that's where inflation comes from. Prices are rising because there's more money in circulation in various aspects. And the fiscal note is acknowledging that if there is more people with demand and we haven't done a substantial change in the supply, you're going to have more demand chasing the same supply, which is going to push prices up. And so that is a very real consequence of this without, as Senator Draheim pointed out, we really need to deal with the supply. We really need to deal with that. And then, so I'll just leave it with that, Madam Chair. Thank you so much. And thank you, Senator Mohamed.
Thank you, Senator Lucero. Senator Mohamed, I want to thank you for bringing this bill. I love this bill. I was a co-author on this bill last year. I think it's a just intensely needed gap that we have through every community in Minnesota. It feels different to sit on this side. You know, last year, the 2 years before when we would bring this bill, it was a vision bill, right? It was a hope, like out there somewhere in the future. And it feels exciting and terrifying in really good ways that we can actually move this bill. You know, we might not be able to move $2 billion a year worth of this bill, but we can build towards the vision that Minnesotans need. And that means we put in what we can as we get our budget targets, because our members are right, we need supply too. We have people who want to buy homes desperately. We need down payment assistance. We need more supply, but we need rental assistance now. And it is humbling and really exciting that we get to be a part of the committee that's going to do that. So thank you for bringing this bill. Senator Mohamed, do you want to close this out?
Yeah, thank you, Senator or Chair Port. A few things. First, to the point that Senator Lucero had made, I appreciate your comments. I don't necessarily feel that my opening remarks were divisive, and I think I talked about my story and the fact that I was somebody and my family received this voucher, and that was the intent of the conversation, was to say I was somebody. I am one of those. My family was one of those families who struggled, who received public assistance, and often it was a stigma, one that is not often talked about. And it is hard to be that kid in school and you go to the grocery store with your parents or your mom is, using public funds because she's got 9 kids and she can't afford it. And, if you felt offended by that or by the comment I made about making sure that in this committee that our job is to always to keep the people in mind and to house people, because so much of the work we do, we often talk about money and profit. We do, and I understand that perspective, and the folks who are doing this job do deserve the money, the work that they put in, they should be able to make that benefit. I'm not against that. I'll never be the person who says that. I think landlords, housing providers should make the profit they need. And the job of us as legislators is to step up when people are struggling and to create programs like these. And if they're not working, to expand it like the way we're doing it here. And so appreciate that, but wanted to clear that up for the record because I think you and I often have very rich discussions. But when I think about this, there are 172,000 people who are eligible for this, and they're not getting it. They'll probably never receive it until we do this, which is part of the reason why we have thousands of people living outside. And when I came to, this is my first session, and I remember when I first came in, the first thing I talked with Leader Dietzig was about the fact that housing was important to me. It is a deeply personal issue for me because I had struggled with it, and often I sound a little angry, because I don't think people should struggle. I don't think people should live outside. And that's not to say people shouldn't make profit, but that's to say we have a job to do and an obligation, and our obligation is to put our mouth and our money where the work can be, and that is making sure that people are living and they have a home. And to my parents, this is somewhat for them. It really is. My mom works to this day in Chaska, drives from Minneapolis, has never had the privilege to go to school. Never. And I don't think education should be a privilege. I also think that should be a right. I ran on housing being housing being a human right because, my mom drives every day, never went to school, but she knows how to get to Chaska from Minneapolis because she's had 9 kids to raise. And to this day, she makes $13 an hour, and she works the same job she started when we came to America, and she was making $7 then. Do you think every day I sit here and I think about the fact that, I would have been homeless if we didn't have this program. I didn't grow up with some of my siblings because we couldn't find a housing big enough so that we could be housed. And so I understand some of the discussions we have can often be difficult, but they can be rich, and we can talk about the profits we can make. But if we're not housing people, the profits are not worth it for me. So I thank you, and I do hope that we do give the $2 billion, maybe even more. Maybe Senator Rest will give us some of her money from her committee. But I hope that we are eventually able to fully fund this. I think we're taking a step, and I appreciate all of you for your comments, and thank the community for this is their work, so I appreciate you all.
Thank you, Senator Mohamed. With that, the bill is laid on the table. Laid over. Senator Boldon. We will hear next Senate File 2214, and we have 25 minutes. Senator Boldon, welcome to the committee. Please present Senate File 2214.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members. I am pleased to present Senate File 2214. I want to start by thanking my co-authors, Chair Port, Senators Housley and Draheim, and Leader Dietzig. We have had much discussions in this committee about the spectrum of the housing crisis. And for those who want to see action to increase homeownership and supply, as we've already discussed even today, this is the bill for you. We know that when folks own their homes, it stabilizes neighborhoods, builds generational wealth, and breaks the cycle of poverty. The impact of owning a home on education is worth noting as well. According to a study in the Journal of Urban Economics, homeownership leads to greater educational achievement. Children of homeowners are significantly more likely to stay in school until age 17 versus children of renters, and especially in low-income households. As we've discussed multiple times previously in this committee, there are significant racial disparities in Minnesota's homeownership rates. The rate of homeownership in white households is around 80%, while the rate among households of color is just around 40%. And if we take a closer look, the number of Black Minnesotans homeownership is at 25%, which is less than it was in the 1950s. So we've actually moved backwards in terms of closing our homeownership racial disparity gap. We must do better, and this bill offers a path to do just that. We also have difficulties in the space of supply of homes. Minnesota is has the third worst housing deficit in the United States. As of January 14th, there were just 98 homes in the 7-county metro area listed at or less than $250,000. And just last week in my town of Rochester, there was an article in the paper, there were just 30 homes that were listed at between $200,000 and $300,000. So this bill appropriates $2 million in fiscal year 24 and then another $2 million in fiscal year 25 as a grant to Build Wealth Minnesota to provide a family stabilization plan program, including program outreach, financial literacy education, and budget and debt counseling. The bill appropriates $100 million in the fiscal year of 23 for a newly created homeownership investment grant program. Organizations that are eligible for this grant must be 501c3s, based in Minnesota, certified with the U.S. Department of Treasury as an affordable housing lending or financing program. Organizations can apply for grants for affordable owner-occupied housing projects for development that increases the supply of affordable owner-occupied homes, financing programs for affordable owner-occupied new home constructions, acquisition, rehabilitation, and resale of affordable owner-occupied manufactured housing, and services to increase access to stable, affordable owner-occupied homes to homes in low-income communities, indigenous communities, and communities of color. Lastly, this bill appropriates $25.25 million in the fiscal year of 24, and then the same amount in fiscal year 25 to the Minnesota Housing Finance Agency for the Workforce Homeownership Program that awards grants to cities, tribal governments, and nonprofits. And competitive grants are used to cover development costs and rehabilitation land development, including storm shelters and community facilities. And the last thing I'll say before I turn it over to testifiers, Madam Chair, is I was really struck by both Senator Paz's story and one of the previous testifiers who spoke about, just imagine if all Minnesotans weren't just working to survive, to get through the day, if they had the stability of a home and were really able to thrive and expend that energy elsewhere in fulfilling their dreams and their full lives. And so this bill moves us closer in that direction. And so with that, Madam Chair, I will move to testifiers.
Thank you, Senator Boldon. First up, I have Jeff Washburn. Please introduce yourself to the committee and go ahead and begin. And I think only the microphone on the sides are working at this point. I will say, Aaliyah Primus, you are next. Go ahead, Mr. Washburn.
Thank you, Chair Port, Senator Boldon, and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Jeff Washburn. I'm the Executive Director with the City of Lakes Community Land Trust, the land trust that serves the city of Minneapolis, and also serve as co-chair of the Homeownership Minnesota, or HOME Coalition here in Minnesota. Homeownership Minnesota is a statewide affordable homeownership coalition made up of 16 organizations practicing in affordable homeownership. As I've mentioned before to this committee, they include Community Land Trust, Habitat for Humanities, CAP agencies, community development organizations, manufactured housing, and homeownership center providers of education and post-purchase education training. Thank you for the opportunity to testify on behalf of Senate File 2214. Thank you, Senator Boldon, for chief authoring the bill, and also nod to the other senators who have signed on to this, including Senator Draheim, to this bipartisan bill. We're appreciative of your leadership and support. As the committee has heard, the homeownership market is incredibly unaffordable to communities across the state. This bill is designed to invest in key areas that increase access to affordable home ownership, increase the supply of affordable home ownership, and accelerate the impact through affordable housing CDFIs. Senate File 2214 is comprehensive investment in affordable home ownership with the goal of closing the racial disparities and gap in home ownership and meeting workforce home ownership needs throughout the state. Senator Boldon has already gone through in detail the three major components of the bill. So I'd like to just thank you again. In addition to highlighting the key aspects of the bill and their benefits, Homeownership Minnesota has a few other testifiers to demonstrate the various impacts of the programs identified, and Leah is up next. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Ms. Primus, come on up to the table, introduce yourself. Next on the list, I have Kevin Golden.
Okay.
Welcome to the committee.
Thank you, Chair Port and Senator Boldon and committee members. My name is Aaliyah Primus, and I have the unique experience of being able to speak from a few perspectives. I am a homeownership advisor at PRG, and typically I don't talk unless I feel like I have something valuable to add to a conversation, which is why I'm here today. At one point in my life, I was a wife, a mother, a business owner, and a homeowner. And as my life progressed, unexpected things happened, and I became a divorced mother of 6 children. And I was homeless. After gaining some stability, I actually connected with a homeownership advisor, and they provided me with education and the ability to rebuild my credit and to rebuild my life. I was able to purchase a home again in 2019. I've been able to create long-term stability for my children and to create stories in this home that my children will tell to their children. And my children have been able to become stable, to be settled in and become active parts of their school and community, which I think is crucial, especially in this social climate for my sons. They need to be seen as part of the community and not as a threat. Home ownership is a tool that we can create to create a sense of belonging that impacts the broader community. If children feel rejected by society, they will play that out in their lives. Children learn what they live. Frederick Douglass says, "It's easier to raise strong children than to repair broken men." Meeting a tangible need like housing has a huge impact on families and children's ability to thrive. Is that my 2 minutes?
It is, but you can finish your thought.
I am really concerned about the people that I advise today and their ability to afford the American dream. When I bought my house in 2019, the housing median cost was $280, and now it's about $400,000. And so that means that buyers actually lost about $100,000 in buying power. And so that's a deep concern for the people that we're really trying to help and for the families that need the stable housing cost the most. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Golden, and after that I have Noah Hobbs. Mr. Golden, welcome to the committee. Please introduce yourself and present your testimony.
Thank you, Chair Port, Senator Boldon, and committee members. My name is Kevin Golden. I'm a project manager with PRG. We're a nonprofit affordable housing developer here in the metro area. I am here today to talk about community development financial institutions, or CDFIs, and the production side of affordable homeownership housing. A portion of the funding included in Senate File 2214 would be deployed through CDFIs for homeownership housing production. Some of you might recall how successful CDFIs were in the aftermath of the pandemic. Funding administered via this stream was quickly deployed and got to those with the greatest need. As we all know, there's an ever-growing need for more affordable homeownership housing throughout our state. Utilizing CDFIs, which now have a track record of being flexible and fast-acting, could deploy this funding in this bill and go a long way to efficiently produce more affordable homeownership housing units. An example of this occurred for us in early 2022. My organization, PRG, was slated to start construction of 6 new affordable homes. However, rapidly rising material and labor costs between the time the project was funded and secured and the time it was bid out then led to a project shortfall. We were faced with delaying the start of construction until additional funding could be secured. A chance conversation with Habitat for Humanity Minnesota, a CDFI, revealed they had funds that could be used for this purpose and we could deploy them quickly. Within 5 weeks, the hole in our budget was filled and we started construction without missing another short Minnesota construction season. Today, these 6 houses are now complete, 4 of them under a contract, and will be sold to BIPOC households when they close over the next few weeks, providing a safe and stable home for all those and narrowing the racial homeownership gap. We face a continuing shortage of affordable homeownership housing units in our state and the dollars needed to address this crisis. This bill would be slated to provide these much-needed dollars. It would also utilize CDFIs and their ability to deploy these resources quickly, which would give those of us on the production side another much-needed tool in the affordable homeownership production toolbox. I thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Noah Hobbs. And then after that, Mission City will be next. Please introduce yourself for the record and provide your testimony.
Thank you, Chair Port and Senators. I am Noah Hobbs, Strategy and Policy Director at One Roof Community Housing up in Duluth, Minnesota. And we are a CDFI. We're a developer of single-family, multifamily, affordable housing, as well as do affordable lending, traditionally rehab loans for single-family homeowners, and do a down payment assistance loan. To date, we've assisted over 1,000 homeowners achieve homeownership through down payment assistance. Over 500 homes, our homeowners achieve homeownership through our Community Land Trust program, which is a permanently affordable homeownership model. And we also have 275 affordable multifamily units with another 275 along the way. And so some of the work that we've done in greater Minnesota is we just recently expanded into Grand Rapids, Minnesota with 8 new Community Land Trust homes up there, and part of that's through this funding that we're hoping to increase so that we can have a larger impact in greater Minnesota. Some of the issues that we have are less lenders or less large lenders, so there's less capital that's able to be invested into projects. We have less foundations. A 2x4 costs a similar amount as it does in Minneapolis, as it does in Grand Rapids, but property values, when they're appraised out, there needs to be a greater subsidy or more flexible financing to make those projects work. And so we're hoping to help do more work as speakers prior to this, Senator Hauschild, working in northeastern Minnesota. There's that huge need and it's very sparse. And so we're able as a CDFI to make flexible financing in projects. Our most recent project as a CDFI, we had a 36 unit building that was in significant distress. One Roof was able to provide financing of $600,000 to retain 16 of those units to be affordable, and there's only $50,000 in TIF money from the city of Duluth, and so there's not a ton of government intervention in that. But without those funds, that project would not go through without a significant more investment from likely the state or the federal government. And so with increased access to capital and dollars, we're able to increase the amount of work that we're doing. And thank you for your time.
That was a very prompt wrap-up. Thank you, Mr. Hobbs. Kristen City, please introduce yourself for the record and present your testimony.
Thank you, Chair Port, Senator Boldon, and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Kristen City, and I'm the co-chair of Homeownership Minnesota and the CEO of Habitat for Humanity of Minnesota, a state support organization for the Habitat affiliates that serve our state and a statewide community development financial institution. I'm commenting today to talk about the final component of the bill, the workforce and affordable homeownership investment. The $50.5 million investment in that program is critical for a number of reasons. This program has sorely been underfunded since its creation, and it's the only program that specifically focuses on affordable homeownership production and preservation. To date, current funding levels at Minnesota Housing for affordable homeownership have only produced between 100 and 150 units on average per year, and so we need more investment in affordable homeownership production at the agency. For the agency. And this investment would support the creation of more than 670 units across the state. And I just want to share with the committee an example of the projects the Workforce and Affordable Homeownership Development Program can fund. Lakes Area Habitat for Humanity is based in Brainerd, Minnesota, serving Crow Wing, Wadena, Cass, and Hubbard counties. In April 2022, Lakes Area Habitat requested $250,000 in American Rescue Plan Act resources from Cass County to fund 4 to 5 homes per year over at least 2 years in Cass Lake to add to affordable workforce homeownership opportunities in the community. The Cass County Board approved this request, and in addition to these federal funds, Lakes Area Habitat is going to be using a portion of their support through the Workforce and Affordable Homeownership Program, providing development gap resources of up to $55,000 per unit. These units will be built in partnership with the Leech Lake Band of Ojibwa, meeting a local need that is not being met through other programs. The Leech Lake Band has an immediate need for nearly 500 housing units and longer term for over 2,000 units. So this is just an example of the vast needs in our communities, along with the resources the state can provide through homeownership investments like Senate File 2214.
Thank you, Ms. City. Members, questions for Senator Boldon? Senator Lucero.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Senator Boldon, for this. Just have a couple questions regarding clarification on what some of the definitions are. So, for example, when I'm looking at 2.6, or I'm sorry, starting on line 2.5, eligible services. I'm reading through here for housing developments are part of the eligible services, new home construction, et cetera. And then I see affordable. So what, can you just provide some clarity on what is meant by, in the context of a housing new construction housing development, what is the definition of affordable?
Senator Boldon.
Thank you, Senator Lucero, for the question. I guess I would maybe turn to council to ask if affordable is defined within statute.
Ms. City.
Or turn to Ms. City.
I would just respond that the way that Homeownership Minnesota thinks about affordable homeownership investment is we look at units that are priced for AMI households at 115% AMI and below.
Senator Lucero.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Okay, so how does that take into consideration if you're building, if they're priced at that, but there's so many other variables. We have interest rates that are going up. So if that's the definition, how does one award grants for new housing construction when there are so many variables that'll impact what the monthly payment would be? Property tax, insurance. In fact, yesterday was Insurance Day on the Hill, so I spoke to insurance agents, and they said homeowners hazard insurance rates are going up by at least 20%, and so there could be a grant awarded, but the project may not start for 6, 9 months, a year down the road, and the variables that go into that. How do we ensure that this is actually achieved?
Ms. City.
Chair Port and Senator Lucero, I misspoke. It's not based on the price. It's based on the homeowner's income, area median income, and their income, and then the subsidy provided would be based on their homeowner's eligibility for the unit. So, yeah.
Senator Lucero.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. So I'm just trying to envision what this is going to look like. So we appropriate money to the department, I think. Yes, to the department. Then the department is giving that to a nonprofit organization. Then the nonprofit organization is going to administer a grant program where I could be a new construction developer. And I'm going to say, I'm going to create homes that are priced at $350, 350-ish, maybe 325 to 375. Would that qualify for this and affordable? That's where I'm trying to go with my thinking here. How does a developer know if their housing product that they construct would even qualify, and should they even attempt to apply for a grant that would create 50 homes in a new housing development per line 2.7 housing developments to increase the supply of affordable owner-occupied homes? Does that make sense what I'm asking? How does a developer create homes when there's ambiguity here as to what is affordable, given the multiple variables that impact the actual end cost that would go to a homeowner?
Ms. City, or perhaps Mr. Washburn. Sorry, that middle mic still doesn't work, I don't think. Maybe it magically turned back on. Mr. Washburn.
Thank you, Chair Port, Senator Lucero. That is, I think, part of the challenge that all of us developers have is trying to predict what's going to happen in 12 or 18 months out. I was chuckling a bit because that's the tough life I think that all of us have to face. The way that the current funds, those investments made by Minnesota Housing in our organizations are made is they look at those proposals and, you know, at this point in time, we're often coming to the table with other local sources of funds, sometimes private sources of funding to get that down to a price point that keeps us within our mission. Ms. Cindy mentioned that the max median income or merit median income statewide is 115%, but so many of our organizations, especially here in the metro area, our mission caps are 80% AMI, and then often have strategic goals of serving households at 50 or 60% of median income. So we're filling those gaps, whether it be development gap or affordability gap, to drive that price down to ideally serve households that are truly priced out of purchasing a home in this market. Clearly, there's going to need to be, I think, guardrails around how much and what are the priorities within those allocators, the CDFIs. But my thoughts all along were that they would mirror very much the current guidelines that Minnesota Housing and other funders that we all subscribe to for funding would allocate those funds. I think there's a keen eye and an awareness by developers of we figure out what a maximum mortgage amount is of a lower income household, and then we're trying to drive down that price to that household so that they're able to achieve home ownership, but responsibly.
Senator Lucero.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I think that did provide some clarity. So if I'm a developer that's looking to put a development in of new home construction, and the development is anticipated to be $10 million, for example, and that's going to result in an expected unsubsidized product of, let's say, $350,000, that might be above the targeted affordability here. So then this grant could be awarded to buy down that $10 million overall cost to, again, just throwing out numbers, from awarding $2 million, so now the development is $2 million subsidized, and then therefore those, what would have been $350,000 homes might now be able to be offered at $250,000, if I'm understanding how this might work.
Chair
Mr.
Port.
Washburn.
Chair Port, Senator Lucero, exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
Senator Draheim. Oh, you know what? Senator Powell was on the list first.
Thank you, Chair Port. I just want to thank Senator Boldon for bringing this bill forward. I rise to speak in support of this. We desperately need this bill, and we need to invest in our housing stock, especially our affordable housing stock. To address the housing homelessness issue, we know we have to approach it from many sides, as Senator or Chair Port has talked about. That includes our supply, and that also includes assistance. So this is the other piece among the many pieces that we have to align together to address our housing homelessness issue. So thank you so much for bringing this bill forward, and I strongly support it.
Senator Draheim.
Thank you, Chair, and I know we only have 1 minute left, and I'll keep it short. So thank you, Senator Boldon, for carrying on this concept. I think it's something that's very much needed, and I'm sure you can work with Senator Lucero to put some guide rails on the definition. But I think the discussion once again goes to one of our main problems, and that's the cost of housing. And I've been trying, this is my 7th year of trying to address some of the issues in housing. And, I've had some very small victories, but unfortunately, we haven't really got at the root cause of the cost of housing, which would help nonprofits like you guys and the free market. I just want to be mindful, or all of our members here to be mindful of some of the bills moving forward. There is a PFAS bill moving forward that would probably add 30% at least to the cost of a home. So I think we all care about housing. We're all very passionate. We have different life stories, and we're in different places in our lives and where we live. But I think we all understand how important housing is. So I just caution as we move forward here towards the end of session, we're about halfway, that we keep housing in mind on every bill we see, from the tax committee to the environment committee, and just try to keep that front and center. So thank you.
Senator Boldon, I want to thank you for bringing this bill. To your testifiers, thank you as well. This was a very exciting day for me to chair. These are organizations I have worked with, and I'm really excited to have in a real conversation about a comprehensive, really transformative housing bill that we are going to be starting to put together, members, over the next 2 weeks. Next week, the agency will be here to go over the revised governor's budget, and then the week after that, we will hopefully hear our budget bill. You know, things are gonna get moving here. Senator Boldon, do you have closing thoughts on your bill today before we lay it over for possible inclusion?
Thank you, Madam Chair and members. Given the time, I will just say this is a really meaningful, important bill. I thank members for their support, and it is one piece of the housing puzzle.
Thank you very much. With that, the bill is laid over for possible inclusion. And at the end of our agenda today, and there being no other business, we are adjourned.